Welcome to This Explainer. Look, we are jumping right into something incredible today because we're looking at one of the most fascinating intersections of physical industry and edge computing I have ever seen. We're going to unpack how a company called 905 Wood is taking a massive, chaotic, cross-border waste crisis and completely dematerializing it into highly lucrative, tariff-exempt digital assets. It's a masterclass in how data provenance can fundamentally rewrite the rules of physical logistics.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the Ontario-Michigan Waste Corridor, hit the 2026 trade war squeeze, meet the Sentient Bridge, break down the digital refinery workflow, talk about how data is the product, and wrap up with the circular bioeconomy. Let's get right into it.
Part 1, the Ontario-Michigan Waste Corridor. To really understand this digital solution, we first have to anchor ourselves in the sheer physical reality of what is moving across the Canadian-US border every single day. Right now, literally as we speak, there's a relentless river of heavy-haul trucks crossing the Ambassador and Blue Water bridges. Every single year, this corridor moves a staggering 3.46 million tons of municipal solid waste, or MSW, directly out of Ontario and into Michigan. To put that 3.46 million tons into perspective, that massive volume means that nearly 15%, 14.35% to be exact, of all the waste disposed of in Michigan landfills actually originates in Ontario. It basically makes Michigan the #1 importer of trash in the United States, and this specific pipeline is the main reason why. So why is this happening? Well, it all comes down to extreme economic arbitrage. The cost to dump waste in the Greater Toronto Area is astronomically high, sitting at a floor of roughly $190 a ton. Meanwhile, Michigan's state tipping fees are practically non-existent at just 36 cents a ton. Even with some proposed fee hikes over in Michigan, the economic gravity pulling all this waste south is just overwhelming. Money pulls the garbage across the border. Part 2, the 2026 trade war squeeze. Because this traditional practice of just burying physical matter across the border, it is rapidly colliding with some volatile geopolitical realities. Just look at this rapid sequence of events playing out this year. In January, Ontario's commercial recycling collapsed, which pushed a flood of new waste onto private haulers. Then, we see massive trade friction emerging from Washington. Following a Supreme Court ruling, the U.S. administration enacted sweeping trade surcharges. By April, Ontario Premier Doug Ford passed Bill 5, bypassing environmental assessments to secure domestic landfill space and explicitly citing the threat of U.S. border closures. And now, a massive 50% tariff cliff on Canadian wood and paper looms under Section 338 on August 19th. The cross-border trade environment is an absolute minefield right now. So here is the existential question. With the Washington administration threatening to tax finished Canadian wood and paper at 50%, how do waste operators keep this Ontario-Michigan corridor open and actually profitable? If you're hauling construction wood waste, a 50% tariff instantly bankrupts the logistics of the entire trip. Which brings us to part 3, meet the Sentient Bridge. Because you can't just build a better physical truck to solve this. It's a technological off-ramp that treats the dumpster not as a container, but as a queryable database. Enter the 905 Wood digital refinery. This platform operationalizes a crazy powerful edge computing stack directly at the bin. We are talking about using the Google Pixel 11 Pro running Android 17, powered by the Tensor G6 chip and the Light RT AI stack. By running the Gemma 4 models entirely on device, they create what they call a sentient bridge between chaotic waste and strict trade compliance. The intelligence lives out at the edge, in the field, making sub-second decisions without even needing a cloud connection. Part 4, the digital refinery workflow. Let's actually walk through how this builds into a product and dematerializes a physical waste load in under half a second. The seamless application mechanics flow perfectly. It kicks off with an initial request for quote. Then, the driver uses that Pixel 11 Pro for a multimodal camera scan of the woodpile. The Edge AI runs a dual-model consensus check, specifically hunting for any visual markers of toxic metals like arsenic or chemical treatments. If it passes, the driver literally holds a button on the screen to trigger a cryptographic hold-to-seal minted right by the phone's security chip. And finally, it instantly outputs the required documentation. And this output is where the magic really happens. It completely automates compliance, generating a unified PDF package on the spot. The crown jewel here is the USMCA Shield Certificate of Origin. This cryptographically backed document proves to customs brokers that the load is clean, tariff-exempt material under the specific HS 3825.0 code.
It perfectly bypasses that looming 50% tariff wall because the AI has certified its origin and purity. Plus, it generates provincial manifests and carbon registry entries all simultaneously.
Part 5, Data is the product. Okay, this brings us to the core paradigm shift of this entire explainer regarding where the real value actually lies.
This is absolutely crucial to understand. 905 wood does not just move wood. The physical wood itself, it simply goes off to a pyrolysis facility. 905 wood's value shifts entirely to the DMRV provenance data cut. The true, high-margin product being generated by this SaaS application is the digital measurement, reporting, and verification data. They are selling the absolute, verifiable truth about what was in that dumpster. The data, not just the wood, is the product.
And this data layer immediately realizes immense value on the balance sheet. For example, Ontario applies a waste levy called Circle. Unverified mixed waste gets hit with a steep $60 per ton penalty. But if you have 905 Wood's AI-verified data proving it's clean dimensional wood, that levy drops to just $5 a ton. That data alone helps contractors dodge those expensive penalties, easily securing over $1,000 in savings per single truckload. Through a decoupled billing architecture, 905 Wood passes the base logistics costs and those massive levy savings directly back to the contractor. It makes their service a total no-brainer. Meanwhile, 905 Wood retains a 100% margin on the highly lucrative carbon dividends generated by that load, which easily funds their AI hardware deployments in the field. Part 6, the circular bioeconomy. Because this verifiable data doesn't just solve immediate border and tax issues. It actually secures Ontario's industrial leadership in the global circular bioeconomy. Because the digital refinery acts as a trusted cryptographic data feed, proving the feedstock is totally pure. That data translates directly into premium carbon removal certificates, or CORCs, on registries like Puro.earth. This data can be worth up to 7,660 Canadian dollars per truckload. And the genius part? 905 Wood does this entirely as a software and data service, without ever needing to own the physical pyrolysis reactors that process the wood. Which leaves us with a fascinating final thought to wrap up today's explainer. If a smartphone app utilizing Edge AI can dematerialize a massive physical liability, like thousands of tons of construction waste, into a digital asset that effortlessly bypasses global trade wars and mins carbon credits, how will Edge AI reshape the rest of our physical world? When the data provenance becomes more valuable than the physical material itself, what traditional supply chain is next? Thanks for learning with us today, and keep questioning the physical world around you.